It has been over 10,600 days. In that time, we've seen the rise and fall of empires. We've seen the internet move from dial-up to AI. We've seen Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo rewrite the laws of physics. But in the world of football, one statistic stands as the most baffling, frustrating, and arguably criminal mystery in the sport. Since 1995, not a single African player has touched his trophy. George Weah, the king of Africa, the only one. How is it possible that in 30 years, an era defined by Samuel Eto'o's dominance, Didier Drogba's power, Mo Salah's records, and Sadio Mané's brilliance, Africa has been completely shut out? Is it a lack of talent? No. Is it bad luck? Maybe. Or is there a literal curse woven into the very fabric of European football? Today, we're going inside the robberies, the politics, and the systemic bias to answer the question the world is too afraid to ask. Why has the Ballon d'Or turned its back on an entire continent? To understand the curse, we have to go back to the moment it was born, 1995. Before 1995, the Ballon d'Or wasn't a world prize. It was the European Footballer of the Year award. If you weren't European, you didn't exist. Pelé, 0 Ballon d'Ors. Maradona, 0. But in '95, France football opened the gates to the world, and George Weah didn't just walk through those gates, he kicked them down. Weah was a force of nature for PSG and AC Milan. He was the prototype for the modern striker. When he won, it felt like the start of a new world order. It felt like the floodgates were open. But instead, the door slammed shut, and it's been locked from the inside ever since. Think about the names that followed. In 2006, Samuel Eto'o won the Champions League with Barcelona, scoring in the final. He was the best striker on the planet. He finished 6th. In 2010, he won the treble with Inter Milan. He was the focal point of the most successful team in the world. He didn't even make the top 3. Wait, keep that 2010 thought in your head, because that is the moment the curse stopped being a theory and started looking like a conspiracy. We're going to deep dive into the Eto'o robbery in a few minutes, and trust me, the stats will make your blood boil. But first, we have to address the elephant in the room, or rather, the 2 goats in the room. For 15 years, the Ballon d'Or wasn't a competition. It was a private party for 2 guys. From 2008 to 2023, Messi and Ronaldo took 13 out of 15 trophies. To win the Ballon d'Or in this era, you didn't just have to be world class. You had to be a god. But here's the thing. African players were playing at a godly level. Let's talk about 2019. This is a year that broke the hearts of 1 billion people. In 2019, Liverpool were the kings of Europe. Sadio Mané was arguably the most important player in that system. He won the Golden Boot. He won the Champions League. He was the heart of a Senegal team that reached the AFCON final. Lionel Messi won the Ballon d'Or that year. Mané finished 4th. Even Messi himself said it was a shame. He literally said, "It's a shame to see Mané finish in 4th place." So why did he? If the best player in history is saying you deserve better, why didn't the voters see it? This brings us to the first pillar of the curse, the voter bias. The Ballon d'Or is decided by journalists from all over the world, 1 journalist per country. Now, on paper, this sounds fair, but look closer at the history. For decades, there has been a psychological bias toward European and South American prestige. If a Brazilian kid does a step over, he's the next Pelé. If an African kid does it, he's physically gifted. There is a marketing machine behind European and South American players that Africa simply doesn't have. When Mo Salah scores a Puskas-worthy goal, the media calls it an outlier. When a European star does it, it's the result of a superior tactical education. But there's a darker side to the voting. In many years, African journalists themselves didn't vote for African players. In 2019, if every African voter had put Sadio Mané as their number 1, the gap between him and Messi would have vanished. But many voted for Messi or Ronaldo. Is it because of a lack of patriotism? No, it's because of the global brand. Nike, Adidas, Pepsi, these brands spend billions making sure that the faces of football are Messi, Ronaldo, and Mbappe. The Ballon d'Or isn't just an award for the best player, it's an award for the biggest protagonist. And for 30 years, the scriptwriters of football have relegated African stars to supporting actors. Okay, I told you we'd go back to 2010. Strap in. This is the most logical proof that the system is rigged against the continent. In 2010, Samuel Eto'o did something almost no one in history has ever done. He won the treble, league, cup, Champions League with Barcelona in 2009. Then he moved to Inter Milan and won the treble again in 2010. Back-to-back trebles with two different clubs in two different countries. That year, he was the ultimate big game player. He sacrificed his ego, played out of position for Mourinho, and shut down the best teams in the world. The Ballon d'Or podium that year? Messi, Iniesta, Xavi. Eto'o didn't even make the top three. Wesley Sneijder, his teammate, was also robbed that year, but Eto'o's exclusion felt different. It felt like a dismissal of his entire legacy. Eto'o famously said, "We, Africans, are not respected. We are considered second-class citizens in the world of football." Was he wrong? Think about it. If a French player won back-to-back trebles and dominated the Champions League, would he be left off the podium? Absolutely not. But there's another invisible factor that hurts African players every single time, and it's scheduled right in the middle of the season: the Africa Cup of Nations, AFCON. For European clubs and media, AFCON is an inconvenience. When a player like Mo Salah or Riyad Mahrez leaves their club in January to represent their country, the European media narrative shifts. They aren't leading their nation to glory, they are abandoning their club at a crucial moment. Compare this to the Euros. When a European player plays the Euros, it's the pinnacle of his career. It adds weight to his Ballon d'Or bid. When an African player wins AFCON, the Ballon d'Or voters treat it like a preseason friendly. Look at 2022. Sadio Mané was the hero. He won AFCON with Senegal, the first in their history. He scored the winning penalty. Then he went back to Liverpool, helped them to a Champions League final and a domestic double. He had the perfect narrative, the perfect season. He finished second. Karim Benzema won. Now, Benzema had an incredible season. No one is denying that. But the gap in prestige between winning the Champions League and winning AFCON is massive in the eyes of the French voters. As long as the Ballon d'Or is run by a European magazine, France Football, the European trophies will always weigh 10 times more than the African ones. There's a theory called the vote split, and it's a major reason why Africa hasn't won. In the years where African players are dominant, there are usually 2 or 3 of them at the top. Take the Liverpool years. Between 2018 and 2022, Salah and Mané were both top 5 players in the world. When the voters sat down, the Africa vote was split. Half went for Salah, half went for Mané. Meanwhile, the Argentina vote goes 100% to Messi. The Portugal vote goes 100% to Ronaldo. By having so much talent at once, Africa actually makes it harder for one individual to rise above the rest and claim the trophy. It's a paradox. The more talent the continent produces, the more they cancel each other out in the polls. So, is it hopeless? Is George Weah destined to be the only African name on that trophy forever? The landscape is shifting. In 2023, Victor Osimhen finished 8th, the highest ranking for a Nigerian in history. He led Napoli to a historic Scudetto. He proved that you don't have to be at Real Madrid or Barcelona to be in the conversation. But there is a new obstacle, and it's a big one: the new Titans. The Messi-Ronaldo era is over, but the Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham era has begun. These are the new marketing darlings. They play for the biggest clubs. They have the biggest social media followings. They have the entire European media machine behind them. For an African player to win now, they can't just be slightly better than Haaland or Mbappe. They have to be undeniable. They have to do what Weah did in '95. They have to be so good that the voters have no choice but to ignore the bias, ignore the marketing, and hand over the gold. But there's one more thing, a secret reason that no one talks about. In the history of the Ballon d'Or, the winner usually has a narrative. Modric won because of the heart of a small nation story. Benzema won because of the redemption story. African players are rarely given these narratives by the Western media. When Mo Salah breaks records, the narrative is often about his contract situation or his rivalry with Mané. When Didier Drogba was literally stopping civil wars in the Ivory Coast, the media was focused on him diving in the Premier League. The Ballon d'Or is a popularity contest masquerading as a stat sheet, and it is very hard to win a popularity contest when the people holding the microphones don't tell your story. So, is there a curse? If by curse you mean a supernatural spell, then no. But if by curse you mean a perfect storm of Eurocentric booting, marketing bias, AFCON scheduling conflicts, and the lack of unified media support, then yes, the curse is very real. But records are meant to be broken. George Weah didn't win because it was easy. He won because he was so dominant that the world couldn't look away. Right now in Lagos, in Accra, in Dakar, and in Cairo, there is a kid playing with a ragged football who doesn't care about voter bias. He doesn't care about marketing machines. He just wants to be the best. And one day, very soon, the world will have to open that door again, because the talent coming out of Africa isn't just a wave, it's a tsunami. The question isn't if an African player will win the Ballon d'Or again. The question is, will the football world be honest enough to admit why it took so long? What do you think? Who was the most robbed African player in history? Was it Eto'o in 2010, Mané in 2019, or maybe Didier Drogba in his prime? Drop a name in the comments. I want to see a debate down there. Let's show the world how much we value these legends. And if you want to see more deep dives into the politics of football, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're uncovering the stories the mainstream media won't touch. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.